I have been waiting for a very long time to play this game. Spider-Man series are one of the most impressive games I have ever played. You may not like it or criticize it, but you have to admit that these games are something else. Before we start, there are some spoilers along the way, so you are warned. Spider-Man 2 kinda kicks off where we left off with Miles Morales. Peter has no job because being Spider-Man is not a part-time gig, and Miles is trying to go to college but procrastinates like an average teenager. Their personal lives are tangled on the web of the spider. Game starts pretty strong and adrenaline-packed. We fight with one of our old enemies, Sandman. He is mad for some reason that we will find out later. I really like the idea of starting strong, cause let's face it, everyone wants to go right into the action when the game starts. No one wants long tutorials to learn the game or read how the game mechanics works, especially in the games like Spider-Man. So throwing people right into the action at the start of the game was a great choice since it gave people exactly what they were craving for. Speaking of cravings, our main villain in the game is Kraven. Depiction of this beast of a man was done perfectly. His actions had no remorse, and that showed very well what his purpose is. But for the love of God, can someone please put like a defense shield upon New York? I have no idea why people are still living there after all that stuff happened. After defeating the Sandman, we receive our first side quest. First of many, actually. We need to piece together what's left of Sandman's mind and collect these shiny minerals. It was fun from time to time, but it is also exactly the same thing, but now it's over here. This goes for all the side quests, actually. Some of them, like Hunter Outposts, may offer some unique gameplay options, but they are almost the same. Side quests unlock as you progress in the game. This is also great because the game is now able to provide new content to play with each progression. I would recommend not rushing these side quests as you play, since it will become repetitive and boring after some point. It's always better to complete them as you come by to keep things fresh. As the story unfolds, we finally reunite with our long-lost friend Harry. He is exceptionally well, and we all know why at this point. It's just a matter of time before things go south. Being able to play with both Peter and Miles actually worked out pretty great. They have their own unique missions and a storyline that you need to switch in between from time to time. I was hoping for a co-op mode where you can swing in the streets of New York with your buddy, but perhaps in Spider-Man 3? I don't know. Peter and Miles both have different types of abilities and skill trees, but they also share some things like gadgets and a common skill tree. Combined with special abilities, these gadgets prove to be quite useful during combat. Speaking of special abilities, Miles and Peter have some new tricks up in their sleeves. Peter can use his spider legs and Venom powers once acquired mid-game. Miles, on the other hand, can use his original skills along with some new skills that unlocks slowly as the game progresses. Being able to rotate between these skills allows players to create unique combos. Story-wise, we are facing higher stakes and much darker tone. Venom, supposed to be a cure, brought up the worst in people. It was fun to see Pete's transformation after the Venom attached to him, same thing with the Scream boss fight. But I was hoping to see Miles as Venom for a while, but that never happened. My biggest surprise was being able to play as the Venom. It was the highlight of the game, and I wish it was a bit longer, but still I really enjoyed tearing security guards apart and throwing them to the ground. Also, we were introduced to Carnage, my favorite villain. However, it will probably be a DLC down the line. Still, I'm eagerly waiting for the day. I also hope they let us play as Carnage, even for a little while. MJ quests were also much more improved from the previous game. Her taser is single-handedly the most OP weapon in the game. While the choice of such weapon might seem contradictory to the game's combat style, but making her overpowered enhances the playability and enjoyment of her chapters. The last part where she had to retrieve the meteor shard was particularly tense and engaging. After finishing the game, we see that Pete is ready to pass the torch and focus on his work as a scientist. I did not like the fact that they wanted us to embrace Miles as the main Spider-Man. I have to admit that even though I really like Miles, Peter will always be the one and only Spider-Man for me. Speaking of endings, when the main story ends, there is nothing much left to do except swinging. This right here is the best thing about the game. Swinging in the streets of New York, doing crazy tricks and exploring the game world is the most fun I have ever had in any game. It is so satisfying and impressive to see how much they actually improved compared to the previous game. I would say what more they could improve, but they still managed to do some new things such as web wings that allows you to almost fly. It's gliding most of the time, but still you can travel long distances quite fast. In the end, Spider-Man 2 delivered impressively. The gameplay, story and action were top-notch. While certain aspects of the game might become repetitive at times, if you are a Spider-Man enthusiast like me, you can easily overlook these minor issues and immerse yourself in a game crafted with genuine passion.